One of the most delightful animated shows to come from Cartoon Network in recent years is We Bare Bears, created by Daniel Chong. So when it was announced he'd be returning to Pixar, where he'd previously worked as a storyboard artist to direct a feature film, I was definitely curious what he'd come up with. The result is Hoppers, about a young environmentalist named Mabel who transfers her brain to a robotic beaver. So what did I think of the film? It honestly did not take me long into the runtime for me to realize this would be right up my alley. For starters, a lot of the style of humor seen in We Bare Bears is evident in Hoppers, and Chong, working alongside Jesse Andrews on the screenplay, has been allowed to go really crazy and out there with the jokes here. Of course, we have commonly seen talking animals in animated films, including ones living out in the woods. However, Hoppers is able to have a distinct identity all its own. It has a lot of fun with depicting this animal community in the forest and see how they all live on this land. There are so many hilarious sight gags that play to these different animals living together, along with plenty of humor based around Mabel and the scientists discovering how their society functions. They also do a lot with the technology invented by these scientists. I know the trailer made a point to emphasize the similarity to Avatar, but they do so many other hilarious things with the brain transfer devices that I found extremely clever and creative. I found myself laughing through a lot of the film, and the story goes in some inspired directions I would not have expected. A key element of the film comes from the friendship that develops between Mabel and King George, the beaver who rules over the mammals. As voiced by Bobby Moynihan, he's a very endearing character, and Moynihan brings such an optimistic and positive spirit to the way he rules his kingdom. The kings in charge of the other animals also provide a lot of funny moments, and a lot of thought has been put into the system of government these animals operate under. In addition to the humor, the visuals and designs also have Daniel Chong's fingerprints all over them. You see these characters, especially the animals, and they are unquestionably from his mind. Chong and the other designers and animators did an excellent job of transferring his familiar style to computer animation. They even do a lot of clever things with the robots where they look different depending on whose perspective we're watching from, which itself leads to one of the funniest jokes in the movie. So it's obvious I loved Hoppers for its comedic aspects and the wild places Chong has been allowed to take the story. But there's another, more personal reason why the film really clicked with me. As I mentioned in the beginning of the review, Mabel's an environmentalist, and she is motivated to protect the forest because of her respect for animals and their important place in the ecosystem. This is reflected really nicely in the opening sequence, where she tries to break out the animals in her school, and we see the connection she has with nature. Well, I am also an environmentalist who thinks animal and park life should be respected and strongly dislike things that ruin the planet we live on. So it was very easy to get me on her side as she tries to help save the animals. The film does not shy away from the pro-environmental themes, and the script does a great job of tying the importance that beavers play in the wild into the larger story. I feel that after seeing this film, a lot of people might even form a newfound respect for beavers. Meanwhile, one of the principal antagonists in the film is the corrupt mayor who just wants to tear it down for his own purposes. Said mayor is humorously voiced by John Hamm, and the animators give him a wide assortment of funny expressions. I was definitely reminded of real political figures who don't care about the environment and would rather finance development projects than protect the animals we share this planet with. That ties into the other major theme of Hoppers that resonated with me. I'm a big supporter in the importance of unity and coexistence rather than resolving things with conflict. It feels like today there are a lot of people who immediately jump to thinking violence and even murder is the best way to resolve an issue. Even those who see themselves as having the best interests at heart can find themselves resorting to supporting violence if they feel someone has been wronged. So I really related to another aspect of Mabel's arc here, as she thinks the animals should rightfully be able to live their lives, but then steps back when some animals suggest more drastic and extreme measures to deal with the mayor and other people. It's why I really hope one of the big takeaways a lot of viewers get from Hoppers is to think of better solutions to problems rather than going for something that only hurts others and helps nobody. There are absolutely those who need to hear that, and I greatly appreciated the point the film makes about how we're all on this planet together and should not be separated by our differences. I have to say I did not expect to have such a personal reaction to Hoppers, especially when the trailers primarily emphasize the wackier aspects of the film. It's an interesting example of how, while we often respond to movies based on the filmmaking choices, our own life experiences and ideologies also play a key role in how we react to something. Even something like this, which mostly has the tone of an absurd and outlandish comedy, but still managed to tackle these other themes extremely well. Daniel Chong did a marvelous job of directing Hoppers and making a film that does work on multiple levels, but as you can see, how it told its story and depicted the characters in this situation especially appealed to me.